Hey guys, Chris from Duckalope Outdoors. I'm doing the follow-up video for the duck decoys that I'm making up here in Maryland. So I'm focused on the actual sea ducks part of it. So what I first started off with was I got some old yard sign. I painted them black. I cut out the ducks. With sea ducks, they're not that smart, so I'm not too worried about like the actual details of it, like the bill, make sure the bill's like perfect and stuff. As long as it looks like a duck, it works up here. So that's what I was shooting for. I was just gonna leave them black, but I figured I was like, you know what? Most of the birds that are flying up here are like canvasbacks, redheads, and tons of buffleheads. So I figured the most common bufflehead, hey, if I can limit out on buffleheads, I'm fine with that. So the first dozen I'm gonna do is buffleheads. So that's what this video is gonna be focused on. So this right here is what we were gonna go with. Now, what I did was I took one of the decoys that I made and the color was messed up on. I think I used like a very dark green. It was like a camo type paint. So I chopped it up. So pretty much I took a picture that was online and I was like, all right, well, the bottom half of the actual of the buffleheads that are up here are like white and the tops are black, and then it has that piece that I cut out right here, that's white too. So I'm using this as a stencil. As you can see, I already used it to spray paint. So I will show you what I did next. I took one of my black ones and painted it. So all I did was hold up the stencil, sprayed it white. I can hit it again just to cover up that black, but then again, I don't know, I may just leave it like that because it still gives it a little bit more contrast. It's not so like black and then straight white, that sort of thing. So, and then I'm gonna take a permanent marker and maybe make some lines in here just to give it a little bit more contrast and some detail. Not like it probably won't matter, but it's just for fun, just to burn time. So that's the first one. I have two others that I finished here. So those are the two others. So I honestly think that they're looking pretty good for, you know, do it yourself at home with yard signs. So we're gonna go ahead and end this clip. The next one, I'm gonna show you how I'm actually gonna use it to, how I'm gonna get them to float on the water using the yard signs. All right, so stay tuned. So what I did for you here, I got a 1/4-inch pine slat. I picked it up from Home Depot by the foot. It's like $1 a foot. So I paid probably about $8 for it. So the reason why I did that is so that way I can cut it into thirds. It makes it really easy. They have a whole bunch of 8-footers. I only picked up one just to do a test trial to see if it works or if I need to make longer arms for it. So I went ahead and marked it off and went ahead and took a saw just to get it started. I'm gonna get my son to finish it off. I figure a little 4-year-old, he likes to, you know, be out working with his dad, but you can see the other mark I made right there. So that's 3 sections. What I plan on doing, I picked up, it's right here. So it's pretty much like the bolt that you run up into like a tree or something. You can tie like a, you know, a swing set to, or, you know, people use them on like their patios and such. I got 2 washers. This is a 1/4-inch bolt with a 1/4-inch wing nut and 2 washers. I think they're 3/8. Here, let me double check. No, they're 3/16. All right, so 3/16 washers. And they fit on there perfect. Not much gap to them. So that way it would keep, especially pine's super soft. It would keep the actual, the wing nut and the bolt tearing it up. So what I plan on doing is painting it first. So that way, when I go to cut it, I'm not having to deal with 3 pieces of wood. I can just deal with just one and just spray paint the whole thing. So spray paint it first. I'm gonna do it flat black and then cut it. And then what I'm gonna do is drill a hole on one side so that way the bolt will fit through, and match it up with all 3 arms. So the hole has to be drilled perfectly. And then So it's painted, it's cut, the hole's drilled. You can go ahead and run your bolt through, spray paint that so that way you don't have any silver showing. And then my next plan is to take the yard sign stakes that I had. What I'm gonna do is chop it off right here and right here, and then probably trim it down just a tad bit so that way I don't have to run the decoys all the way down on it. So being with the actual stake that goes into the ground cut off and the part where the decoy goes in, I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna drill 2 holes into the wood so that way the arms will fit up in there. Use a staple gun and staple a few times just to hold it in place. And that way, when it's sitting up in the water, you have your stakes already coming up out of the pine, and you can switch out and use Big Al's decoys with the geese, or dive bombs if you use those, or you can go ahead and switch to your yard sign duck decoys that you have, and it's very versatile. Instead of just having a slat cut out and trying to wedge it in or whatever, they could fall out. So that's the plan, and that's the first step. I'll show you the end product here. So as you can see here, it's starting to come together now. I got it painted, the holes are drilled, went ahead and ran the bolt through. So the reason why I did this is it stays on the bottom, right? You can attach your anchor to this instead of having other things mounted to it. It's all one piece. So we'll attach the swivel there, and of course, have the the weight. So you got your 3 arms, and this is with it fully open. I haven't drilled the holes yet to mount the frame for the actual decoy, but that's with it opened. And when you're done, the reason why I went with the wing nut is because when it's cold out and you're wearing gloves, it's better than trying to grab onto a little nut. The wing nut itself, all you do is just loosen it up a little bit, collapse the arms, tighten it back up, and there it is, completely folded back up. So I will go and I'll trim this off so that way we don't have a big old, just piece of bolt just sticking up that's not being used. But stay tuned for the hole drilling and the decoys being mounted on here. All right, we're down here at on the Susquehanna. I'm gonna try out this V-board I made for y'all. So if you see here on the front, I went ahead and attached that to it. We got the decoy, I got one on there. So one thing you gotta keep in mind that I found out is you probably have to trim down the yard sign too, because getting these things all the way down on there, you're gonna have a pole sticking up out of the top of the decoy if you get it all the way down. But they're completely removable. I didn't staple it, so that way I can take it out of the wood if I want to, like so. But you have to measure like 3 or 4 times just to make sure that this thing's right. So like me, I had to keep moving the hole towards the front so that way you can get the yard sign to stick down in there right. But once you put the decoys on, being that they stick on there real good, it should go ahead and hold the frame nicely tight to the actual V-board itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of the decoys on here, put this thing out in the water, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so here we go with the frame I made that's in the water. Like I said, it's made out of pine. So if you have the arms all pointing back on one way, it will sink. I found that out. So you have to almost keep your longest end. This is the longest end going out this way, and the two shorter arms are going out these two ways. And it probably went down into the water probably maybe 3 inches or so. So maybe it's a good thing that the ducks are raised up off that wood a little bit, so that way they at least look a little bit more out of the water. So that way you can see more of the decoy itself. But it doesn't look bad. Things I'm going to improve is the actual the stakes itself. So that way it looks a little bit more neat. but that's not that bad. Let me get up on it so y'all can see how deep it is. It's down in the water there. All right, ladies and gents, there y'all have it. Homemade decoys. Justin will be following up with y'all with the painted ones that he's doing down there with the geese. So that video will shortly come here in a little while. So just be on the lookout. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification button so that way y'all can see the how-tos and all the reviews that we're doing this summer. And of course, we'll do some fishing for y'all. All right, I hope y'all enjoy the content we're putting out. Appreciate it.